When it comes to GST, we have just about 5 days left. Lots of questions still in the minds of a lot of shopkeepers, traders. I'm here in the South Delhi market. A lot of shopkeepers have told me that they are ready for GST. They welcome GST. They have registered for GST, but they don't know what happens once GST comes in. So lots of questions coming in from the traders here when it comes to compliance, when it comes to the paperwork. We have a guest here with us. We have Gaurav Garg. He is a chartered accountant who is going to help us with a lot of questions that have come through. Gaurav, before we start taking the questions, what are your top 5 tips for GST? A lot of questions coming in, but what's your top 5 tips?
I think standing today when we are hardly 3-4 days, the GST will come on 1st of July. I think most important thing one needs to do is prepare a stock list, because these stocks will get transitioned to your new law, and one needs to pay GST when they are supplying goods to customers or to registered vendors. So what would happen to the credit which is lying in their stock right now? I think that is first important thing on which they need to work upon. Second, I feel registration. Registration. There are certain conditions, Section 24 particularly of CGST Act, the Central Goods and Service Tax Act, which talks about certain mandatory facts. So if you are, for example, operating on an e-commerce, you need to take registration irrespective of your turnover. So even if your turnover is 1 lakh and you are selling goods through e-commerce operator, you need to register yourself. So I think that is second most important.
Gaurav, we'll go to number 3 and number 4 and number 5, but we have a caller with us. We have Mr. Venkatram from Hyderabad who's calling up. Good evening, Mr. Venkatram. Go ahead, go ask your question.
Good evening. Yeah, I have a question. Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. This is municipal solid waste. That is not having earlier excess
Mr.
duty.
Venkatram, can you repeat your question, please?
Solid does not have.
I think we're having a problem with the line where we couldn't hear him. So you said one is your stock, the second is the registration, which I think a lot of people have done. What about the worry about paperwork, the amount of paperwork people have to do? Is that a real worry? Because they were filing returns for VAT and excise duties as well.
Yeah, but in the current regime, I think now the monthly returns needs to be uploaded, and there are 3 returns. One is GSTR1, GSTR2, GSTR3. People need to be more compliant and more scheduled in the current regime, in the regime which will going to come. So from that perspective, if you are following the schedules, nothing to worry. But if you are taking at leisure that I can do it as per my wish, I think then there is certainly worry for it.
Right. We also have with us in this market some shopkeepers and store owners who have some questions. Sir, please go ahead, ask your question. Tell us your name and what's your question.
We have a shop here. We are a baby store basically, and I would just want to ask you what will happen to our stocks, like the stocks we have purchased for in 5%. Now most of them are going into 18% and 28%. So how will we get our set off the VAT or the GST?
Okay, so broadly the situation would be you must be registered under the VAT.
Yeah.
Correct. So VAT credit you will get by filing the returns of a VAT. So once you will upload the return of a VAT, after that you need to file GST Trans 1, which is a transition return, and through that you would be able to move your VAT credit as SGST credit, that is the Delhi State Goods and Service Tax credit, in the next regime. As far as CGST concerned, which you will going to pay in the next regime, because we need to pay 2 taxes from 1st July onwards. So CGST is a component which reflects the excise portion or a SENVAT portion. For that, what you need to do, because you may not be registered under the excise, correct? So the rule of 60-40 is applicable on you. Or, what I will say, either you would be having the invoice which reflects the excise duty. So,
but we are basically traders, so we don't get the excise invoice.
Correct. So let me complete. Because there might be certain traders who may be having those invoices which reflects the excise duty. In that case, they will get the full credit,
Okay.
but they need to upload the detail that these are the invoices, these are the stake.
Okay.
As far as you are concerned, who are not registered under the excise and who are not having the invoices which reflects the amount of excise which has been paid on the goods, for that 60-40 ratio is applicable, wherein if 9% or more is CGST, you will get a 60% credit of that CGST liability which will happen, after the 1st July. So for example, let's say your product cost is 100, and let's assume that the rate which is applicable on you is 18%, for example. 9% is the CGST portion. So 60% of 9% you will get the credit, which is 5.4. So balance you need to charge from customer.
No, but the products are MRP based. We cannot charge more than the MRP.
So you need to talk. This is really the point of, I will say, tension or a worry.
Yeah.
Probably you need to talk to your the buyers whether they would be able to give certain credits to you as far as that 40% is concerned. If you are not getting any credit from your buyer, then the cost will come on.
Okay, so that means we have to bear all the cost what the government is not offering us.
See,
Or giving it back to us.
government is offering 60% credit if you are ready to pass on that credit to the customer.
Yeah.
But because the excise is paid by the manufacturer, you need to get back to that manufacturer or from whomsoever you purchase.
No, but it's a long chain. Why will the manufacturer give us?
I agree. That is the point of worry
Right.
or a litigation right now.
So we also have another caller with us. Gaurav, we have Neeti Ravindran. She is calling us from Delhi. Neeti, go ahead, ask your question.
Yeah, what I would like to know is will the existing bill format need to change, both for the tax bills as well as for the retail bills? And every month they say that we have to give 3 different statements to the sales tax. Now that's going to make it more and more complicated with a lot of paperwork, right?
Right. So what's your answer for Neeti?
Can you repeat the question?
The question Neeti had was that, how will my bill change? Does my bill now need to change? The one that I'm giving to end customer, or if I am giving to, it's a B2B transaction,
Yes,
how will
yes,
my
yes.
bill change? Can you tell her?
So there is a particular format which is given in the invoice rule. So we need to follow that invoice rule. There are details given. There are a lot of details. For example, you need to put in your GST number, your address, also the GST number of a buyer. So if buyer is registered, you need to take the GST number of a buyer. You need to put that. What is the HSN code of a goods, or what is the tax rate? Everything needs to be put in. So there is a detailed rule which has come up. We need to go through, and almost there are 15-20 items.
She's also worried about the number of returns per month, like GST 1, GST 2, GST 3. So, the belief is it does get auto-computed, right? So, if you're selling to another business enterprise, you will upload your invoices, right?
Okay.
So, how does it work from then
Okay,
on?
so let's understand, there are 3 returns. One is GSTR 1, second is GSTR 2, and third is GSTR 3. So, if we have got, let's say, 1 hour, or, we have got 10 hours, I think more time we need to devote on GSTR 1, which is my output return. So, whatever I am supplying to business or to consumers, I need to upload that data on GSTR 1. So, for example, I am supplying goods to Anisha, so I will upload GSTR 1, which will automatically get reflected in GSTR 2A of Anisha. She will check if the Gaurav has fed in the data correctly or not. If she says okay, she will put yes, and that's how that will become the input credit for input goods for Anisha. And then when she is making an output sale, so she will again work only on one return, that is GSTR 1 which is for her. So GSTR 2, which is auto-populated, GSTR 1 on she will work, and GST 3 will come again auto-populated.
So we have another caller. We have Mr. Agarwal joining us from Jalandhar. Go ahead, Mr. Agarwal, ask your question.
Yeah, I'm a manufacturer and I'm having sales within my own state with the turnover of 3 CR plus. And my item is tax 0% GST. Do I need to have a GST number?
All right.
Okay. See, there is a section 23 which provides exemption to the one who is exclusively involved in exempted goods or supply. So as you said, you are a manufacturer only involved in intra-state sales within the Punjab not making interstate supplies, you need not take registration if you are exclusively engaged in exempted goods.